My name is Blake Dowling. Welcome to the Biz and Tech Podcast. We've got a very special guest here today. If you've ever driven down Gain Street in Tallahassee, Florida, I'm sure you've seen Madison Social. Welcome, Matt. How you doing today, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm from Tallahassee, so old school Gain Street, the warehouse, go around the other side of the stadium, the bar over there. What's it called?
The Palace.
There we go,
Yeah,
the Palace. You know, I hit those spots when I was a young person, over 21, of course. But the years have flown by, and Gain Street is freaking awesome looking now. And you are a big part of that. So let's go ahead and dive right into the Biz and Tech Podcast today. You founded Madison Social, and we were talking beforehand about everyone, just about everyone on earth, right, has a vision or a dream about opening a bar. Well, you did it, man. Let's hear the story.
Yeah, I say all the time, when you're in college, right, you're sitting around and you're like, oh, I'd love to own a bar with my friends and all this, and then
if I opened my own, it would have a foosball table in the corner.
Yeah,
you
always have something.
Lava
right?
lamps.
Yeah, all these ideas that are probably atrocious, and I actually I own Madison Social with my best friend. From college, met in public speaking class, looking at Doak Campbell Stadium. I mean, you can't get much better than that, in my opinion. If you're Noel, I think that's a pretty awesome story. So,
well, we're going to put any affiliations aside for today. We're going to just talk commonality, right?
Well, I'm married a Gator.
That's cool.
My wife is a Gator. It's like the dirty secret of Madison Social. I'm married a Gator. We don't like each other for about 4 months out of the year in the fall, but
especially lately, I would guess from one side at least.
You know what? It's funny. We started out like really not respectful, probably, of each other's teams, and then over the years, I think there's the one day, right? The one day after Thanksgiving, you break bread, everybody's happy, and then on Saturday we kind of go our separate ways. And so, but yeah, the most recent time, other than basketball and maybe some really recent baseball, I got nothing to talk about. So.
Well, thanks to the nice people at Oral Roberts, we have nothing to talk about in basketball. So I hope Leonard takes y'all's team as far as he can. He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
All right, so let's go back to Madison Social. What year did you open, and what was there before? What did you scout that location specifically? You said, I want this spot. Like, what was that?
No, so I say all the time, we were not a business plan looking for a solution. There wasn't like we're sitting around and we're like, we got this great idea or anything like that. We opened in August of 2013, but in October of 2011, FSU played Oklahoma.
Okay.
I hosted this big tailgate under the Oaks, and my now business partner and friend Brian McKenna came over and tailgated, and he's like, "Oh, I got a meeting with the boosters about that area over there," and I'm like, "Over there? That is an industrial wasteland. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to meet with a guy named Ed Murray," and I go, "Well, that's my cousin." And so that's interesting. And so we just started chatting. And he's like,
I saw him in traffic on the way here.
Yeah. So he's
gotta love the small town.
Small town Tallahassee, man. And so he reached out and he did the meeting and he had everything presented. I mean, I came secondary for everything that we do. He pitched the concept, open air, garage door, gastropubby type feeling vibe, in this anchor location of this earmarked place called College Town. And right after he pitched, or that day, somewhere around there, we went to the old Midtown filling station, and we ate some tater tots or something like that. And I go, you know what? I'm kind of looking to diversify. So if you need any help, I'm happy to help out with. And then about a month later, he's like, so would you be interested in running the marketing and the branding? It'd be like 15 hours a week. And I go, yeah, I could use a side gig. That sounds good.
Right.
And quickly it became a lot more than that. And then obviously when we opened in August 2013, I think we were something really new to Tallahassee. The
Definitely.
Design, the number one, the space, obviously, being in that area was totally new. The design was something like nobody had ever seen before. I think we marketed fairly well. We were very lucky because we were early social media-esque in 2012, 2013. And so we were running, man. And then it opened to something that we never expected. And it just took off, and we make money every month except for July typically. So I mean, we do fairly well, and I think one of the things that surprised me the most with the brand is how we are a part of Tallahassee. We're not just a part of FSU, but we're a part of Tallahassee as well, and that's something that we kind of grew into over time.
Oh yeah, I mean, you don't just appeal to the college kids. As a professional in the market, my first visit to your establishment was with Treehouse, the kids shelter.
Oh yeah.
We did a Christmas party there. This is going back a while, but
Bayless.
Yeah,
that was when Bayless was
Sarah.
Sarah was the chair, if I remember, and so that was 2013.
Was it opening year?
The opening year, 2014. Yep.
It was close.
And now we do the catering. Social Catering Events does the catering for Treehouse every year.
Nice. And Slater's on the board now. Is he president now?
I don't know. He was a couple years ago, I know.
Okay.
So.
I didn't know if they're the first husband-wife combo that have both led that noble organization. But yeah, that was my first stop into the place. And First Commerce Credit Union did an event a couple years later that I attended.
Bourbon and beer, or beer and bourbon.
Bacon was in there too?
Yeah, bacon. Yep.
If you can have bacon and bourbon in the same sitting, I think that's doing
right.
it
It was
right.
Bacon and bourbon, and then after like year 3, they added beer, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah.
Outstanding. But a great venue, like you said. There's nothing else like it in town. And we were talking about Gainesville and UF a little bit there. Before Social opened in Gainesville. It's different. It's smaller, but it's it's interesting that Tallahassee in the South, your brand has led the charge as far as an entertainment venue, in my opinion.
Man, I've yet to go on a vacation where I haven't seen somebody in a Madison Social shirt. That's a true story. I've been in a cave in Napa. My wife's been in Charleston. I've been on a mountain in Montana. I've been on a hike in a mountain in Montana, Hidden Lake and Glacier National Park. And a guy saw a Madison Social shirt, and he goes, "I'm from Alabama. I go there for every FSU home game when I'm in town."
That's awesome.
Greece, Athens Airport. Somebody walked by and said, "Go Knowles." So I've yet to go on a vacation where somebody didn't recognize the logo, which I think is so cool to me.
Yeah, brand recognition, especially huge. The opposite. I always see Aegis cups at Goodwill when I go there. I'm like, who is giving away my cups?
Yeah, man.
I'm like, this is terrible.
I bet you we have a ton of Madison Social shirts in the Goodwill of Tallahassee.
Walking through Goodwill is always an experience. Fred and his team have done a great job with that brand here in the community. All right, good stuff. Well, speaking of shirts, you said on a post regarding your wedding anniversary, maybe?
Probably.
I wear the same shirt every day, and this woman loves me for it, regardless of lack of style. Something. So you wear your brand every day? What's the deal?
Yeah, there's, in fact, right now.
What do you got on? Tallahassee
Town
lives here?
So it's a Lives Here shirt. Jay Revel reached out to me and a few years ago, and he's like, "I got this great idea for TLH, Talent Lives Here." I was like, "That's a really good idea."
I just talked to Jay about a little project an hour ago.
And
it's funny
so,
you bring him up. He's a good,
great dude.
Good dude.
My hat, after 11, Mike Martin retired. That last year we did a Omaha series, an 11 hat, and so everything that I typically have on some shape form is something that we've made at Madison Social, and it's largely because I'm lazy. It really has nothing to do with like I want to be this great brand ambassador for what I built. Right. I'm just fairly lazy when it comes to dress, and then it became a thing. I've never had a job that required me to wear long pants ever. It's pretty impressive. I mean, my first job out of college, very laid back. Software company. I've taught. Teaching has no, you don't have to, no dress code for that. The Zimmerman Agency.
At Harvard? Ivy League schools have dress codes?
Yeah, not at UCF.
Not around here?
Yeah, and not around here. And then I was at, when I moved to Tallahassee in 2007, I was at the Zimmerman Agency. And they implemented, literally about 2 weeks after I started, they implemented you could wear Friday work attire every day unless a client was in.
Boom.
And so I've never had a job that required me to wear long pants.
I had a friend in Atlanta who was working for Anderson Consulting and, rocking a tie and code every day. And I had an office in downtown Atlanta in the Capricorn Records building with our artist management firm. And I stroll out of the office one day, shorts and T-shirt, going to get some lunch. And he's like, what do you do? Why are you wearing shorts? You're the only person in downtown Atlanta in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, you should come into our building. I'm like, you've got the Capricorn Records team, who were thriving in those years with 311 and Widespread and Cake all doing really well in the 90s. But I hear you, man. This year for us, last year especially, having Corona casual wardrobe became a must, because if you're letting people work from home and they're sitting in their pajamas, the people that are willing to come to the office, you can't punish them by saying, you better have slacks on. So I started just making all sorts of Aegis swag throughout 2020, nice, comfortable golf shirts and letting people wear what they want.
That's good.
We started going on site again and that sort of thing, and we've tightened it up. No T-shirts now.
Right.
We got to have some law,
some level.
Some
See,
law.
I only do dry fits. I don't even do cotton T-shirts. I wear dry fit every day.
And I got dressed up for you today, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I got jeans on, but I got my sport coat.
I did too. I mean, this is about as good as it gets. You mentioned Anderson Consulting. That's funny because the entire trajectory of my career could have changed if Anderson Consulting hired me.
Wow. That's crazy when you think about those pivotal moments, right?
Yeah, I got my master's degree from FSU in 2000. They flew me down. We did the interview thing and all that. And I got in the program I was in at FSU was people were getting gobbled up by PricewaterhouseCoopers, Anderson Consulting at the time. Now it's Accenture, I think.
Yeah. Everybody I knew in college, it seemed like, while I was in the shorts and T-shirt business and working music, they were, all just flying everywhere, being high-paid consultants.
Yep. And I went down there to Tampa, did the whole dog and pony show, got back, felt good, and then it was a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. I graduated in December, and I got the denial letter. I got the letter that said you didn't get, we decided to not hire you, and so I was bummed. My parents actually framed that for me, that denial letter. And I used to keep it when I had a desk and all that. I don't know where it is, but I used to keep it and look at it all the time. And I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life. And long story short, obviously it worked out. But if Anderson Consulting would have, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I have no idea. I mean, I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I don't even like being called a restaurateur. Right. I mean, we own, and the we part, by the way, is super important because I started out as I just started out as the marketing guy. And over time, I've grown into everything from pro formas and P&Ls, putting deals together, landlord conversations, the true business function of what we do, right, along with my partner. Basically, it evolved over time, but I consider myself a marketer at heart. That's what I am. I don't like being called a restaurateur. I don't like being called an entrepreneur. I'm a marketer. It's what I enjoy the most. That's where I feel most comfortable, and that's what gets me excited. I get excited still when we come up with an idea in a marketing meeting that I think will work. Like last week, as you're probably aware, FSU and NUF and many of the schools canceled spring break. Right. And so good news for us because now we have an audience here, right? MadSo is about 60% college student, I estimate. And
did every student get that memo that spring break was canceled?
So that part I don't know, but we created spring break. So what we did is we recreated the week, and each day was a different spring break destination. So on Monday, you went on a cruise, or Tuesday, we went to New Orleans. We did hand grenades and hurricanes and glassware for that. But each day had a commemorative shot glass for the day to create a collection. And went really well. And I still get excited. I mean, you can probably tell right now, I'm excited about talking about that idea. We had the idea. We built out the idea. It took about 4 to 6 weeks to get everything together, implemented, executed, analyzed, and it was successful, and it's something we're going to do. I still get pumped up about stuff like that.
Well, my heart's in that exact same place. I'm a creator. I'm a marketing guy, sales background, being able to come up with something fresh, something new. I talked last night with a guy, runs a company called Six Man in Atlanta, and they started one of the first pioneers of the floating rock and roll festivals. Oh, that's cool. Bands on cruise ships. And they do the Kiss Cruise is one of their really big ones. And so we're talking about the Kiss Cruise last night. And you want to talk about an industry, which is a good segue for our next question, but an industry that had a rough 2020, going from 50, I think, cruises a year to none.
Right.
Not like you can have a cruise ship with 25%. No, you can't have any cruises.
You're not going anywhere.
And so he's like, what's the demand looking like? He's like, we're sold out. He's like, the Kiss cruise is in the fall, sold out. He's like, we never sell out this far out. So they're excited, and I'm happy for them that they're getting back in gear. But let's talk about March 2020. I had Kristen Dozier on the podcast, county commissioner. We were sitting here in this room talking very casually about the pandemic. Like, what's going to happen? I was like, I don't know. I'm going home and I'm watching the SEC basketball tournament. Florida's playing today. Yeah. We had watched Ole Miss Georgia the night before. Florida's turn. Yeah, an hour after the podcast, it was canceled. All of our lives changed. But I know your business changed a lot. Tell us what that spring looked like for you.
So, there's some dates that stick out in my mind. March 17th, that was the day that we were forced to go 50% indoor.
God, it was that fast from the 13th to 17th. Okay.
Yeah. March 20th was the day that the governor said you have to do takeout only. That came down about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We closed at 5. We decided to close that night and just say, let's go at it tomorrow. In between that, or should I say that day, right around, so whenever he came down at 2 o'clock, my family was down at Alligator Point for spring break. I came back knowing that I was gone all week. I up here working and everything. I went through every possible emotion that a human, I think, can go through. And what I find ironic, I guess, about it is a student asked me about a month before that, because I still teach every once in a while. I teach full-time at Flagler College, but I teach, I moonlighted at FSU for a class. And a student asked me about mental health. And I literally said to him, I don't know anybody in my circle that uses those terms.
Right.
I don't. I hang out with super successful people. I think that's part of, build your people around you that are successful. And nobody talks about their mental health. And man, if that didn't come back at me that week, I experienced every emotion that you can possibly experience, from happiness, and I got in a zone working at one point in time, working until like 2 a.m. thinking of ideas and trying to figure out our business, all the way to borderline depression, right? And just like, what the hell's going to happen? But the worst part of the week was when we did a phone call with every salaried manager on the call, and we moved them to 50% pay. That was every hourly employee was laid off. Every manager went to 50% pay. That was a very humbling, because I think, you own a business. There's a parental aspect, I think, of what we do. You feel like you provide a little bit.
Sure.
I take that very seriously. And you're a marketing sales guy. I teach students. I go, marketing, to me, at the very core, is about keeping people employed. If you forget, I tell my marketing guy this, if you forget to post about whatever promotion that we have going on, you're taking money out of servers' pockets.
100%.
You have to think like that, right? And I take that very seriously. I love the stories of how the brands we have created have changed lives, like, going from a $9 an hour dishwasher guy to a $45,000 a year kitchen manager. Love those stories. And to be able to take that away from somebody hurts, And I you've had to fire somebody, right? It sucks.
Brutal.
It's brutal. Like, I don't care if they stole from me, and I've had that. I still take an extra stiff bourbon that night, because I took away something from somebody.
Well, it's someone's life. It's
somebody's
like
livelihood.
It's like when you're looking at a resume.
Yeah.
I shut my door and I look at that resume. I'm like, this is someone's life. And I give it the utmost attention, because I'm about to make a decision that, like we were talking about earlier, that could affect someone's trajectory of their life. And if I'm not going to give it my 100% attention, I might as well just not do it and come back to it later.
That's really good, man. I've never thought of it like that. I
really
it's just
like an extension of what you're saying.
Yeah.
You are a parent. You're providing people a salary from which they can take care of their family and have a car and enjoy a vacation.
And I don't believe you owe me anything in that situation. Like, I'm not one of those people that are like, it's great to work for me or anything like that. I have no problem if you leave, and you want to have a better opportunity, or you think there's a better opportunity. I'm not one of those people. The only thing I can ask you to do is leave me better than how you found me. If you do that, we've had a great time together. You know,
that's fair.
And so doing that 50% thing, but we were back 100% in May, and I paid you back. So I felt really good about that. But
Awesome.
It was tough, man. There's no doubt. Catering had $275,000 worth of caterings canceled in 48 hours, I think it was. Centrale closed, our Italian concept. Township closed, and we funneled everything through Madison Social. Soto stayed open, and it was, man, you learned real quick that, and I say it all the time, I'm not in the restaurant business, and you're not in Aegis business. You're in the people business,
Every
right?
day.
And because we got to hire, retain, motivate, keep top talent. COVID showed us more than anything else that there are a wide range of emotions of people and motivations out there. And I learned that really quick.
Yeah, when people always ask, what do you do? And I'm like, well, April 2020, I'm like, we connect people with their technology. Mm-hmm. That's what we slapped on our website. That's as simple as you could describe it. Yeah, we're outsourced IT support, we're managed services, we're cybersecurity experts, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But we connect people with their technology, and that's all we did in the spring. We went from, just under 20 people in our office to 3. You want to talk about every emotion, like you were saying? We were able to keep all our staff, thankfully, but everything changed. And the 3 of us were responsible for all the repairs in the office, answering the door, returns, answering the phones.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, and it got grim. And my assistant, who was an FSU student, she's like, I'd really like to pick up some more hours. I'm like, huh? More hours?
I'd love to give them to you.
I was like, you're hired, you're promoted, whatever it is.
Right.
Yes. So she came on board, and once we got 5 people on the front lines, we were able to be manageable. But yeah, it was a dark time for our community and our world, and it's really nice to see positive vibes this year. Yeah, we're still in the middle or the end of it. Josh, our producer, said he got his shot recently.
Congratulations, buddy.
So we're seeing some positive stuff like that happening. We're seeing people in restaurants.
Yeah.
We're seeing people buying computers. We're seeing all these good things, like people booking cruises with Anthony. But I want to focus on one thing before we run out of time today. Unless you had a closing thought with what we were just talking about. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, dude, two quick things. And probably it would take too much long to explain these, but I always say them. Number one, I've never in my career experienced where every lever of the business was put on full throttle at one time.
I think you said something like that in the column that I wrote that we collaborated
Man,
on.
that was, human resources, accounting, legal, marketing, everything full throttle at the max at one time. And that part was a little overwhelming. And then the second part is, it was the first time that I ever felt like an elected official. And I didn't sign up for that. Because the restaurant industry was massively scrutinized with, do you open, do you not open? Are you at 25%? Are you maintaining 6 foot? Or should it be 10 foot? Oh, you shouldn't be open at all, right? There was a lot of opinions out there.
Right there with you. Not at your level, but right there with you, man.
And I don't...
Do I have to wear a mask in the office?
Correct.
Yeah, no, maybe. I mean, I feel you.
And I didn't sign up to be an elected official, and that part kind of sucked. I'm not going to lie. That part, the amount of scrutiny that I think a lot of business owners were under decisions that, quite honestly, if you have the outlook of the business as you are providing, we had to make some tough choices at times.
Right.
And I didn't appreciate, if you are judging me on 100% of your salary and I'm operating on not, I think we're not coming to things at the same perspective.
Perspective is everything, isn't
correct.
it? Yes. All right, well, good deal. Let's see. Before we close today, I got an email or saw a tweet about the Tallahassee Beer Society.
Yeah, man.
Who they've been on this show. We had a great chat, I think December of last year. Learned more about what they've been up to. And I love my La La Land. I love my Oyster City regional, not Tallahassee. But anyway, they said, we're making Drink Tallahassee Beer shirts, and you can pick them up at Madison Social online. Mm-hmm. So how'd you get hooked up with those guys? And I will say, on Twitter, I was like, you can make them in orange and blue? And Danny said, hell no. And by default, they had a misprint, and I have an orange and blue Drink Tallahassee Beer hoodie. And it's the most comfortable thing I own. Right? I wear it like every night. For March Madness, I have worn it every day. My wife thinks I'm looking like a hobo. But,
right.
Hey, you got to wear what you're comfortable in, right? So tell us about that, and then we'll We'll call it a day, Matt.
So Danny Aller reached out to me. I've known Danny for years, before Tallahassee Beer Society. Danny was at my tailgate. He was friends with we had a mutual friend, and he would come tailgate. And he reached out to me, and he said, "Hey, you do a lot of donations and work with a lot of nonprofits. Who should we work with? We want to support somebody. I'm thinking these shirts, drink out Tallahassee beer." And I said, "Lee's Place." Lee's Place.
Did you know Beth used to work at Aegis?
I didn't know that.
It's a small world, right?
Yeah. So they've been. I know a couple people that have gone through their grief counseling and how much they help them. One was a minor, a child who lost his father, and so I've seen how they help people, right? And even though I haven't used their services, but I've seen how it is. And so we've been involved with Lee's Place for the last few years out at the Frazee Farm and raising money. And obviously I didn't have it last year. And they did a virtual one in October. But Danny, and I, without hesitation, I said Lee's Place. So Danny got going. If you know Danny, man, he's like a wind-up toy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Excited. He can write a lot. If you ever looked at his Facebook post, man, they're like 5 paragraphs deep.
Oh, the Tallahassee beer post
it's like a
on
story.
Insta. I'm like,
yeah,
well, okay,
yeah,
all right. It's that long.
And so he came at it with started with a shirt and then a hoodie, and then now we got 10 different colors and versions of that. We ended up with 286 variables on our website.
That's a lot of SKUs.
Oh, it was crazy,
as
man.
they say.
It took like 3 hours to set this thing up, but we sold over 500. It was funny. He asked me around 100. Is this good? I go, dude, if I sell 100 shirts of something, I'm happy, right? I don't consider we're not really in the t-shirt business. And so I'm like, wow, 100 people bought something. I'm still to this day. And I go, you're at 100. That's good. I think you'll definitely get to 200. 500 hoodies and shirts. I guess I can say it here, tally it up. $5,200 will go to Lee's Place.
That's so awesome.
That's an amazing feat.
And think about the volume they did last year. You know, we're talking about grief and depression. Think of the people that called that organization that might not have ever, and a person that was going through a really hard time, and you throw a pandemic on top of it. A shout out to Lee's Place today, Beth and everyone there for the good work that they do.
And Danny, man, I mean, he made it happen. I mean, him and Matt, they did a great job of getting the word out, and that goes to show you the power of that little community, right? Yeah. And I think one of the things that people don't understand, particularly in a community like Tallahassee, there are a lot of those little micro communities that can move the needle. You know, Tallahassee Foodies is one in my world. You know, that 100%, man, they get behind something. Now they're 30,000 strong nowadays.
Yeah, they tag me a lot on Twitter.
Man,
and I respond too.
Yeah,
I'm
100.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Like the Fly By Phillies, I got introduced to them by that group.
Yeah,
and that's that's a wicked sandwich, man.
We've changed our marketing strategy because of them. Like our marketing strategy and calendar changes because businesses are allowed to post on Thursdays.
Right.
So everything we think of in terms of how do I get the maximum amount of Tallahassee Foodies posts to make something successful. So like Soto's doing Easter pre-order sales right now. It's, okay, how many can I get 3 Foodies posts in before we're cutting it off? And so they've changed our strategy. But anyway, that's just another one. But 100% great job, Danny. Excellent job.
Hear, hear. And as we close, I would like to personally thank you for the C19 that you've given me. Are you familiar with the C19?
I'm not. I don't know if
it's like the freshman 50. The freshman
oh, you're
15. I have the COVID-19 because I live and work. Well, I don't live there, but it feels like I do. Our office is next to Soto.
Correct.
And Crystal from our team come in with a box of donuts every day. And my wife also works with us. She's our procurement director. She's
awesome. Yeah.
She's genius. So we'll give Jeannie a shout out today. But she likes to cut each little donut up. She don't want to commit to a whole one.
Right, yeah, oh, yeah.
And so we have these smorgasbord buffets of all different kinds of donuts. And it's not just you. It's my ribeye and IPA diet has slightly contributed to it also.
I'm stoked about brownie batter as a flavor that we're going to have in April.
Okay, good.
Brownie batter donut.
We'll keep an eye out for it. All right, boys and girls, that is our chat today. I feel like we could chat all afternoon about football and fine watering holes, but we're going to stick to it. Call it a show. That's the Biz and Tech Talk. That's the Biz and Tech podcast for today. My name is Blake Dowling. Thank you, Matt, and congrats on all your successes in our community. You guys have become a real pioneer in what Tallahassee can be and is. So awesome. Next month, we welcome Monica with WCTV, and we will see you then. Go Gators and go Noles.